What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today is an exciting day. Oh, he actually just turned the spreader on there now for a second. It is spreading way too far. It seems to be going way too far. We need to slow down the spinner. I hope you guys are picking up the salt. Seems like we need to slow the spinner down. We do not have the speed control for the spinner currently working. If you guys saw that video probably a couple weeks ago, then you know what I'm talking about. We can adjust it based off I think it's a flathead. I don't think I have a flathead in my truck, but we can adjust that on the back of the valve there and slow it down a little bit. But anyway, we're heading out to one of the roads here that had hard pack the other day. We got a call to go back there and salt it again, but come to find out, that road had cars parked on it the entire storm, so our truck could not make it down there. So it kind of got neglected during the storm, which is why it led to the situation that we had the other day. So we're turning onto that road now, but I loaded 2 buckets of salt on this truck. This truck is pretty much 100%. We don't have the plow on it currently because it was tight to get it out of the garage where we had it all the way in the back with the plow on it. Probably could have done it. It would have been like, I don't know, a 15-point turn to get out. But this is a massive truck, definitely one of the bigger trucks that we have. This thing is absolutely launching salt right now. Yeah, we got to slow the spinner down a bit. I hope you guys can see the salt coming out. I'm gonna try and throw this on his truck and get some footage of it. You can see there's still hard pack here. I wonder if he's gonna be able to make this cul-de-sac.
I don't think so, but... Nope.
All right, so oh, easy, Dad. You almost just fell. I just slowed down the spinner on the back of the valve up there. It's a flathead, and you just tighten it or loosen it. So we're gonna turn it on right now and see how much better it's spreading. I think it's pretty good. I guess he's happy. So that's just a trial and error type of thing. Oh, I'm spinning. That's just a trial and error type of thing. You got to bring it out, especially being that the speed control in the cab doesn't work. There's only one way to test it, really. And we thought we had it good in our complex, but the roads are much wider in our complex. So obviously once we got out here, it was spreading it a little bit off the road. So I turned it down only about half a turn, really. Let's see which way he went here. But it seems to be spreading pretty much perfect. It's like curb to curb. Is that him down there? Yeah, he went left. This road still has some hard pack on it. It's just been absolutely freezing here. So I put 2 buckets of salt on this and it's still not completely full. We'll probably get 3, maybe 3.5 buckets on this thing I'm gonna try and throw you guys in the cab so you can see how he runs the controls. I am gonna go over the entire truck once we get back to our shop and pretty much show you guys everything that's done to it. I know I've made videos about most of the stuff, but there are some small details that I never put in any of my videos, so we have a pretty complete truck at this point. The only thing really left to do on it is add central hydraulics and get rid of all of the electric stuff for the plow and the salt spreader. For 2 seconds and then it stopped.
Is the motor running in the back?
What?
Motor running in the back?
Yeah.
Motor's running?
Yeah. It came on for 2 seconds and then it stopped. What?
I can't see the mirror.
It's not on. Press the spinner one.
The dial doesn't know anything.
What? Yeah. What about that on off down there on the bottom left?
This?
Yeah. What is that?
Well, that's off is on and on is off.
Oh.
It's backwards.
It was working fine. It was working really good actually. And when you first pulled in, right when we got to the parking lot and you kicked it kicked on for a second and then it shut off. What if you turn it to auto?
Auto.
Put it back down to manual. What if you spin them down to 0 and then back up? Then you... Yeah, I don't know. I jinxed it by putting the camera here. Why don't you turn it off and turn it back on completely? Yeah, it's off. I don't think so.
So there's a problem, Brandon.
What?
The key's not working back there.
I can't hear you.
The key's not working.
What do you mean the key's not working?
It's not starting the engine.
All right, so not quite the result we were hoping for, but that's the reason you take things out on a dry day and test them rather than waiting for a snowstorm to do your first test. It seems like it's just gonna be a couple minor things to clean up. One thing, obviously, the salt spreader kicked on for a second when we got to the cemetery and then kicked right off. It was working fine on the road that we were on before in the village here. As soon as we got there, it kicked it on and I don't know what happened, but it stopped working. Another thing is the key is not working to start the engine out on the back of the spreader. He jumped the starter at our shop to get it running and we didn't turn it off until it stopped working. I figured maybe if you turn it off and turn it back on, it might start working again, but obviously we turned it off and we couldn't get it to turn back on. So a couple little things we're gonna have to button up. I am gonna get back to our shop and film a full reveal video on it. Obviously we'll have some updates in the future, maybe even later today. Matt is working at our shop, so if he has time after he's done fixing the trucks that broke down, maybe he'll be able to jump into that for a second, and if it's an easy fix, he might just take care of it real quick. But anyway, let me get back to our shop. I'll film the rest of this, and then maybe at the end of it, I'll have an update on the issues that we have now. All right, guys, it is actually the next day now, and we had Matt look at this yesterday, and we know what the issue is, but unfortunately, we still have to get it repaired. We have not fixed the problem, but I do know how to get this thing running, and we have to get it unloaded. I just started up our loader down there. I have our salt bin open. This thing has a bunch of salt in it still, but one cool thing about this spreader is it has this flap here that folds down over the chute, which will allow the salt to slide out right here, which should make, I don't know if it's going to make spreading it any faster, but it avoids the entire spinner. The auger can obviously only run so fast, or the chain, call it what you want, but this allows the salt to slide out right here. You don't have to worry about a big pile jamming up underneath your spinner. If you're not paying attention, it'll all be behind the spinner. Sometimes if you leave a salt spreader unloading and a big pile forms right here, the spinner will eventually be up in the pile, or the pile will be up in the spinner really, and the spinner can get jammed up a little bit. But this allows all the salt to slide right out. I need to start this thing up. I should have started it up before I started the loader. But anyway, we got to get this over in the salt bin and get it unloaded, and then once I have this empty, I'll go over this entire truck with you guys. But I'll give you a sneak peek on the inside of the truck right now. Some of the stuff you guys have not seen yet. Yeah.
I have to run down to the Palisade Center and look at something for Scott.
other question is, does this start? And we actually don't even need the truck on, because it has its own battery. But there is one switch we have to flip back here, unless they left it on. So we had this thing running before. No. So if you don't flip this switch, this thing won't start. It has no power. It's basically a disconnect. But hopefully it'll start. Damn. I need to get the battery charger on it. Alright, so I got our battery charger connected to the battery here. It's a bit of a pain. It is so high up on this salt spreader here, and now I got our charger sitting in the salt, so definitely not ideal. It should fire right up now. That stay on? Yeah. Yep. All right, so now let me put this right here. Actually, I'll show you how the controls work. This is actually my first time running this thing, so we should have spread. We don't need the spinner on. We can turn that all the way off. This switch is backwards. That's why it says on, but it's actually off. Should be on, or I might have to press that. I'm not sure. Okay, so the spinner's on. Spinner's on, but the auger's not. I thought there would be a light. Oh, manual. Now it's on. Actually, let's crank this thing all the way up. Starts to unload. I'll kind of explain to you guys what the issue is. The stator on that, which is basically like an alternator for a car that recharges the battery, is not working properly. So we went out and it was working fine, and then it lost enough power to eventually, when we hit the button in here, when my father hit the button, it kicked on for a second and it killed the amount of power it needed to turn on. It turned right off. It did work fine because it was charged up all day, and then eventually, once it lost enough power, it just wouldn't turn back on. And then we turned the engine off back there. There's a Kohler motor up there. We turned that off, and it didn't have enough juice to turn it back on, which is the issue we ran into at the cemetery. But we figured that out, and basically what we're gonna do is eliminate the battery up there, and we're gonna run lines to the truck battery, because we know that the truck battery is always charging. We know that is pretty much perfect. So there's no issues there. We just need to do the work. And Matt was diving into all of the wires, and it is an electrical mess back there, which is why we decided to do it that way. He could take the time and find it, but it's really just not worth the time to sit there and figure out what wire is what. It is basically a rat's nest in there. The guy that we bought this from kind of had it ripped apart, and we had to figure out how to put it back together. So that's where we're at with that. But obviously you got to connect the battery charger to get it run here. I don't know how long I need to leave the battery charger on it, but I think I'm just going to leave it on it while we do run this right now, just to get the salt off of this truck.